and everyone's relaxed and just checking in on each other.
Absolutely. Yep. I think that's phenomenal. And even I think I've seen on Instagram where like Debbie Allen is teaching. I see people doing dance and dance parties, like teaching a dance class. I'm like, oh my God, I never would have thought to take, you know, a dance class with Debbie Allen, but I can say that I did. I don't think I did well, but I did. Yeah, and D-Nice dance parties. Yes, D-Nice. He's a DJ on Instagram that goes on live and does like these 6-hour crazy dance parties that everybody has been like coming to. It's wonderful. Go ahead, Loretta. Can we unmute Loretta so she can talk?
Yeah. All right, Loretta should be unmuted on our end.
I think I am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Yes, no, those have been some of the greatest experiences, just being able to have an aspect of connecting with others because we are social beings, and just having that ability to connect via internet or chatting with friends. Those have been great opportunities to know that you're able to still connect, because working in silos is very challenging. And that seems to be what we are amidst or among right now. So just having those moments where you try to keep things as normal as you possibly can in some other types of ways. So even though you have the social distancing, we're limiting human contact, you're limiting the physical human contact, but still having that emotional connection with the people that you love or people that you know. Those have been things that have been definitely worthwhile. So continuing those are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Nikki. I was gonna say I'm gonna also mute Kim in just a second. If Kim, if you don't mind talking a little bit about kind of that virtual staff meeting that you had.
Oh yeah.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Hi. Yesterday afternoon, our staff all logged into, I don't think it was Zoom. I can't even remember what it was, at 2 o'clock. And as everyone was logging on, the energy, and there were tears, and there was, how are you? What are you doing? You look great. Asking about one of our staff members who's pregnant. And at one point, I think we had 45 of about 60 staff members. It was energizing. It was wonderful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's why we wanted to do this today. Like I'm a crybaby, so I can cry, but we really wanted to do this because, oh Lord, we really care about you guys. And we want to check in and make sure that you are okay. And seeing you, like we not being able to see you for the conference, you know, we understand why, but we just want to know that you're okay and you're doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. I'm not going to cry, positive thoughts, but it's exciting to just connect because it is isolating, although you sometimes see your family, which drives you crazy, but it can be isolating when you're separated and not around. But as school counselors, you as humans are important to us as an association and as fellow humans, and we just really wanted to continue with that connection. So I feel you, Kim. I could see when, you know, people said they cry, because it's nice to be able to see each other again.
It was great. I was the biggest crybaby.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I was the biggest crybaby. I couldn't help it. We care about our people.
We do. We really do.
Hey, Nikki, it's Maureen.
Yeah, hey, Maureen.
Hey, we did the same thing with our department today. So as a resource counselor, I have, you know, a small group of counselors in my department. So I also hosted a 30-minute, just a short check-in today. We did a little activity where folks shared their roses and thorns during this time, and just made sure we were all on the same page, if there were any concerns, just as a nice way to connect, because we haven't seen everybody in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The other thing is we're constantly texting as well. So that's another great way to connect it.
Yeah, text is great. It is. And then what I'm encouraging, this is a little side thing. Well, I don't know about Zoom anymore, but we are, I've said to my husband, we're going to host an open house on Sunday afternoon, telling people from like 4 to 6. Because we have the capability to screen from our big screen TV to hook up the computer. and tell people to just drop on by and come by and jokingly bring your own plate. But I encourage, people to connect with other people at the same time is reach out to those who, may be living by themselves and inviting. So I'm intentionally inviting some friends over virtually to our open house to hang out with us during our dinner time or as we're prepping and getting ready for dinner from 4 to 6. So, I mean, I think it's just that connection, that human connection is so important. And especially as counselors, I think it's very, very important. And on that note, are there any self-care resources? I know that was the next slide that we have or that you know of.
Nikki, I'll jump in for just a second. This is Ed.
Oh, go ahead, Ed. Yeah.
And just looking at some of those things to do for that self-care, and I'll look at some self-care resources as well. I think one of the things that's been helpful for me and our family, because yes, sometimes we go stir crazy, because I have two young ones. I have a 7th grader who thinks he's older than what he is, and I have a 5th grader. And so providing them with a framework of structure and writing out on one of our whiteboards, hey, this is the schedule, this is the break, this is the flow, and then acknowledging their need to burn off some energy and incorporate some fun. That's been helpful. One of the things that we did, now everyone might not have a projector, but if you have access to the computer, you could do some karaoke. And so we had a karaoke night. We did everything. My wife likes ABBA. My son likes Eminem and Lecrae, right? My daughter is flexible. So we had all kinds of stuff, all types of genres of music. We did some line dancing. And so you look at some ways to explore having fun. Then with the Zoom piece is that I hosted a virtual family reunion. And it was really cool because we were able to connect with some of the older folks in the family. And then for the older folks to see some of the little kids running around and just laying eyes on one another in different states. That was really cool. Yeah, that was a fun thing. So we planned some more virtual family reunions. So those are a few things that we're doing over here on this end. I will share one for you.
Cool.
Now's a great time to get a Kindle account or a audio books. And one of the books that I'm getting ready to read is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Because
I think
yeah, because he talks about the Holocaust, and he And so one of my mentors has been doing a lesson on that during this time, and it kind of allowed me to recenter and think about, even though things outside of our control can be chaotic, but remember that you still control your choices and your response, and looking at the challenges that others might have had prior to us. And I did go through 9/11, the sniper, and all that stuff. We got to begin to put things in perspective.
No, that's awesome.
I think that's a great idea. I love that. And we're collecting, I know Miriam and Diamar are writing these resources, so that way we will post them somewhere. So if you don't have a chance to write it down. I love that idea of Viktor Frankl's Man. That's a great, and I think very timely as we're in this moment, because sometimes we can think about the hardship of what we're experiencing, but to put things in perspective. I saw some great resources. If other people want to share out, please.
Yeah. I see some in the chat. Insight Timer app, a Down Dog has workouts, Stop, Breathe, Think app, Headspace, currently free to educators. It looks like there's a lot of really awesome resources that our members are sharing out.
Yeah.
Regular exercise, just something free.
What'd you say?
I said just, kind of regular exercise. It's, that's a great thing. Just, it's a free resource. I know for me, I don't work in the elementary level, but, Counselor Carey has awesome resources for especially those at the elementary level, already pre-made presentations, games, things like that, ways to connect with your students and your staff, all stakeholders. I see Audible has free options, Peloton, there's a lot of different free options it looks like right now. And
Mary,
be shared out as well in the chat. So it will be shared out as Nikki said.
Can you unmute Lynn? Lynn was
Absolutely.
Lynn
Yep.
was had a question.
Yep.
So, am I unmute? I guess that you can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yep. Mhm. Yeah.
So, you're talking about taking care of yourself, and I'm going to take this a little bit different place just for a few minutes because it is related, and that is some of the newest mental health information that is coming out now has to do with looking at this as a grief process for our kids and for ourselves. And I think if we take a look at the grief process, we will know better how to take care of ourselves. And all these things are all great ways to take care of ourselves. And they're like distractions and also energize us. But I also think we want to be very respectful of the fact that this is a grief process. We have lots of losses. We've lost our schedules. We've lost our security. We've lost our, we don't even know what the future means. There's for some of our folks, there's a loss of hope. And I think we want to be respectful when people say they're scared and uncertain and nervous. And you all are being respectful. I don't mean that in any way other than to support the fact that we can name this, and to name it gives you control over it in some degree. So if we can name that we are grieving some losses and that the world has changed around us and will stay changed in many ways. Some of us are grieving losses of freedom and security, and some of us are grieving losses of people we know who are sick, and then the fear, the loss of security. So I think my contribution is to let's do what we do best, and let's give these things words, and then know how to take care of those stages of loss and where we are. I think we need to let ourselves cry. We need to let ourselves scream. We need to let ourselves yell when we get impatient with our kids, when we get impatient with our significant others. And we need to be kind about those things to ourselves because everybody is dealing with a lot of accumulated losses and not a clear sense of what the future holds for us. And loss of security is probably the scariest thing for all of us. So I wanted to, I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna mute myself again, but I wanted to toss that out there because I don't hear the elephant in the room being named right now. And I thought I might just toss the elephant right in the middle of the room.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead, Nikki.
I think what Lynn just is so poignant and so wise, as someone said, and thank you for putting the elephant out there. I think, for example, when I even, not about me, but even when someone mentioned earlier, seeing everyone in the tears, where's that source coming from? And I think a part of it is happiness to see each other, but also grief that, things are different. And if we adults are feeling that way, we certainly know children are feeling that way and don't necessarily have the words to put it out there. But I think as adults, it might start first with us, start naming it and saying, I feel sad that I can't do this activity and I'm a little scared about what is to come. And I think that's okay. In this space, we want to create this safe space of caring for yourself because we are going to be the caretakers for others, but we first have to start doing that work with ourselves and being courageous to say that because I think it takes courage. And then I'll stop talking.
I just want to pop in with a quick housekeeping tip that we forgot to mention. In monitoring the chat box, we are going to ask you all to refrain from sharing lessons or any ways that you're communicating with students and families because that needs to come directly from supervisors. Every district is doing something different. So once you have directives, we can do another type of resource share, but we really want to make sure that we're respecting that part of the process and we're really focusing on ourselves as caretakers right now. So please do refrain from sharing ways to talk to students and families and lessons and platforms and things like that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for that reminder. We want to first take care of us first, but that's just us, the natural school counselors. We're always thinking about how are our kids doing and what can we do for them. Uh-oh, did my screen go away? Am I still there?
We still hear you, Nick.
Oh, you still hear me? Okay, because it says I'm leaving the meeting, so I don't know what happened. But you might not be able to see me. So can't connect. Okay, but good, you can still hear me. So, but we want to still be able to, care for ourselves first before we start doing the work of caring for others. and start kind of what I think going back to what Lynn said is start dealing with and addressing that, naming that what we're experiencing, which is a grief, a loss of what was and kind of what we're going into. So I'll stop there, and if anybody else wants to.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I was looking at the chat and it looked like Kim had another good thing to share out in terms of the employee assistance program. I don't know if that's something that Kim wants to share about or if we think would be helpful, but I'm gonna unmute Kim if she wants to talk.
Hello again. Anne Arundel County Public Schools has an employee assistance program that is free to all employees, whether they receive or take advantage of our health care opportunities or not, you know, in the insurance. And they're wonderful. I think we get 6 free sessions to start. And I think most of the school systems have it. And it's just the employee assistance program, and they help with everything from grief counseling to just mental health counseling to budgeting, helping people develop a budget at this time or any time in their lives, substance abuse counseling. So I'm just dripping that onto my Facebook page, and lots of my friends from my previous school and my current school are reposting it. So
That's awesome.
Yes, I strongly encourage that. Check with your school system and see what they have to offer, because there's resources that are out there that are available to you, or you through your union as well. Check with your union. There may be resources that are available as a member of your union, especially during this time.
I would also say for you all to check in with your healthcare provider, because
Yes.
I called mine to make sure that telehealth and things like that were available to me. And they actually ended up telling me that they were waiving all copays for 90 days.
Oh,
It's a good time to check in with your healthcare providers and see what is going on in this moment for everybody.
That's a great resource. That's really, really good to know. That's good.
That's awesome.
And anyway, I saw before we were talking about even, in terms of resources and in terms of managing your feelings and taking care of you or processing this grieving process. I saw Kim, no, it was Amy Stowe. I'm no longer on, so I can't see the comments. I think it was Amy Stowe, and I don't want to put you out there, but I think you mentioned an app, and I was curious about that, and I don't remember the name of it, but it sounded like it was a counseling or meditation or an app that was, I'm not heard of, but I think you said it was free, which is in my budget.
Okay, give me 1 second. And Nikki, who did you say it was?
I think it was Amy Stowe, Stowe. And sorry, Amy, to put you on the blast, but I remember seeing it quickly, and I was like, oh, what was that?
She doesn't know how to say to a teacher, after the fact, could you, if you're going to call me out, could you give me a warning? Like, hey, after we have this, I'm going to call on Eliza. Like, she hates being called on, without notice, which I can appreciate. It's scary, and she gets nervous.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There's very little self-advocacy on her part, but I will tell you, academically, she's had a really rough go of it. And
Hello?
But it's funny, online, while she's gotten behind.
Hello?
Who is that? Is that background noise or is someone speaking?
It sounded like I was listening to a conference call about somebody. Was that, hello? Did you guys hear that?
I had unmuted Amy for a second so she could talk a little bit. So I don't know if she was talking about someone else. I just muted her again,
Okay.
but I can unmute her.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry
I
about
can
it.
hear.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello?
A lot for her. She needs kids.
No, I think she's having a separate conversation.
Yeah. So let's not even.
Yep.
That was
I
just
muted.
But this
Yeah,
is Holly. I can tell you a little bit about some apps.
sure.
I know that Calm app is free for educators. So that is a good one. A lot of people I know who have an app probably have Headspace.
Yeah. Yes. That was what it was mentioned. Headspace. What I think I've seen of that. What is? I don't know if everybody's familiar with Headspace.
I mean, I haven't used it very often, but I know it's a popular one as far as it gives some breathing exercises and other visualization and other meditation type things. I also use Stop, Breathe, and Think is an app that I use on my phone that's for me, as well as I have, used it as a school counselor, but again, that's a resource that I would say you have to check to make sure you're allowed to use that stuff first. But it's good because it could have like a 2-minute meditation, it can have a 20-minute, and it will kind of ask you, how are you feeling? And depending on your level of stress or things that you're concerned about, it will kind of filter through what would be an appropriate exercise to do for that.
And I think these are helpful because also, Dr. Mueller talked about the grief process, but I think also if we name it, there's anxiety that people are feeling. I'll be transparent. I am sometimes very anxious at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll wake up, oh, do I have, is my family going to be safe? And so those are things that, Holly, we've talked before. We talk about mental wellness. Everyone has mental health, but we want to maintain mental wellness during this time. But we all, many people have things that this can be triggering for, to really make it challenging managing your mental wellness. So I think those apps like Headspace, Calm can be, at least for me, that's helpful to share for me to manage my anxiety, because this, certainly is an anxious time. I don't know if anybody else wants to share.
Allie said that she uses Headspace and can speak on that. So if we can unmute Allie.
Mm-hmm. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hey, Allie.
Hi. So the nice thing about Headspace is they have it's free all the time. I don't know what it is right now, but it's 10 minutes for 10 days, and it teaches you how to be mindful. So each day it gives like a short little lesson about what you can practice that day for being mindful. And it does like a cute little cartoon that kind of shows you ideas. So like my favorite one is it compares trying to be mindful to sitting next to a busy road, and your thoughts are all the cars that are going by, and some are flying by and some are slow and some are honking. But it says, you have to learn to sit by the road and let the cars pass and still be in your mind. And so every day, like I said, for 10 days, it kind of gives you something different to teach you how to get into a mindful headspace. So I really like that. And the other nice thing is with Stop, Breathe, Think is it has you check in with yourself and document how you feel physically and then mentally. And then it also has you document at least 5 different or no more than 5 emotions for how you're feeling that day. And then it has you redo it at the end to see if you're feeling better or worse, but then it tracks it in a journal over time so that you can kind of see over like a 30-day period, like, are you getting better? Are you getting worse? Are you staying the same? That's why I encourage my students to do it so that they can see, there are some good days and there are some bad days and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great resource to even monitor and see what's going on, and even maybe going back to see what was kind of maybe attributing to some of those feelings or emotions for bad days.
And Stop, Breathe, Think right now does have something specifically for coronavirus anxiety. So they have a specific for that. And then they also have a family kids oriented section that is specifically for being mindful with your family. So it's geared towards little kids. I haven't done it yet, but I did see that the other day, and I do really like Stop, Breathe, Think. So.
Yeah, and I was going to say, kind of something similar to that. One of my students actually alerted me to this, but there's something called Youper app. It's Youper. And it also does something similar. You can check in, do an emotional health check-in every day. It can, you can track your emotions, how you're feeling, and there's like a wide range. And then it tracks, say at 1:56, I was feeling this, and some of the factors that made me feel this way are this, and this. So it kind of sets a pattern and allows you to really assess what's going on with your day-to-day mental health. So
I think these are all wonderful resources. And I know, again, we're sharing this out, so that will be helpful, so that we can make sure everyone can have, for those who were attending and not be able to get this information, and then utilize and identify what works best for you during this time. And I think we also, one of the things we're looking at is also what personal or professional development trainings or things that you're involved in during this time. I think I've loved what Ed was saying in terms of the book reading, which I think would be great. I know some people are participating in, virtual book clubs, reading material that they've always wanted to read but haven't had a chance to read. I'll share my son's school counselor. She wrote a book for, I think it's Surviving and Thriving with middle school counseling, and I can share out the link about that. She's a school counselor. She was a school counselor in Montgomery County. Now she's a school counselor at my son's school in DC, and she wrote a book about, working with middle schoolers. I know I need it, and it's for the perspective of parents, because I don't care that I've been a middle school counselor. It all changes now when you have children. So that has been my quote unquote light reading, but it's been helpful for me to kind of just get some perspective. So I don't know if any people are involved with any personal or professional self-care things that you're doing.
Awesome. Nikki, do we want to translate or go to PD resources, or do you think that others still, anyone want to share out any last self-care resources? Awesome, okay.
Hey, real quick, something I was just going to jump in with is that one of the things that we should keep our ears open for, at least for our colleagues and anyone else, but especially our colleagues, is if they lose a family member to the COVID-19.
Yeah.
Because, you'll talk about this 5 steps from, what do you call it? There's always somebody, I forget the term for the whole thing, but
5 degrees.
5 degrees of separation. But what happens is really thinking about those who are in the school counseling profession and unexpectedly loses a loved one from this. There's that grief, and then there's that added grief of not being able to pull the families together, and it gets real complicated. Like, I know a close friend of mine, her cousin who was 47 in Michigan had got this disease here, this virus, and within a week it went through her, and she passed away within a week.
Oh, wow.
And just when you talk about grief from a death, but then there's that other layer of grief that comes when you can't even get together with the whole family, and she had 4 kids. And I think about what happens to when the caregiver needs care, and especially in times like this. And I'll just share with you, I know that my brother had to go get tested. And when I went through that range of emotions over the weekend, when he was sending me a picture of him over at Holy Cross Hospital in Silver Spring outside in a tent, and so when we look at this piece, and so I'll put a positive spin, I think part of the self-care is going to be to stay informed with facts and be willing to speak up when people are talking like nonsense, or when people say, oh, it's just like the flu, not to get in arguments, but equipping ourselves with the facts and being willing to let our voice be heard, but not getting into arguments with people who you're not going to get anywhere with.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are just a couple of thoughts.
And even outside of the actual virus, my boyfriend recently just lost his father, and due to the quarantine, we have not been able to have any services because you can't get people together. So even though it was not virus related at all, it's still, we cannot gather as a family to have services, and that's making it very difficult because you miss that closure.
Absolutely. So sorry for that loss.
Yeah, we are sorry for that loss. And I think these are the things why we want to do this, and checking in with us as a collective, as, again, humans, really just wanting to touch base and see how everyone is doing, because, and a lot of times we are there for everyone else. But I think Ed was a great reminder to kind of check in with each other and our colleagues to see how are you doing. Maybe there is someone. Thank you for sharing, Ed, and we'll be definitely thinking about your family, because that's a big burden for you to carry. You're being positive for, I see you in your YouTube videos being positive for everyone, but yet you're having this, burden that you are, for your loved one you're thinking about. And I think that's a big part of what we do as counselors. We are sometimes carrying a lot for other people. And we sometimes need a safe space to put it down and take a break and take care of ourselves. And thinking back to what Maureen was saying, where are you in that number? How are you caring for yourself and the number of people you're taking care of, and making sure you're at least in the top 5. Sometimes we're bad with that. We put us all the way down at the bottom. And honoring that grief process that we're going through right now, calling it and naming it, I think that was really helpful. Dr. Mueller is really just saying, I'm sad, and sitting with that for a moment. Or I'm anxious.
Yeah, and Nikki, I have to close on a positive note, something fun, and that is perhaps if you live in a community that has like a Facebook community group. I know in the community that I live in Poolesville, Maryland, you might see this on the news, but it's their car-driven parades for the little kids who are having birthdays, and so since they can't
we're
have
doing
their
that too.
Yeah, since they don't have the birthday parties, folks are just jumping in the car. A lot of us have signed up to participate in drive-by parades for the kids and honk the horn, smile, laugh, bring some joy. And what I've learned, part of self-care, if you can bring joy to others, you can experience the same joy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anybody else wants to share, I think it's great. Ending on a positive. We have a video we want to show, but before we end out, on a positive, we want to honor these feelings, but on a positive, any wonderful things that we see that are coming out of or new, exciting. So for example, at our communities doing the same thing. On Saturday, they want to meet at 11 a.m. And I jokingly said, I don't know, it's going to be tight. I have to fit it in between cleaning out the pantry and cleaning out the linen closet, but I'll see if I can make it. Making light of those things, but it is, it's a different thing. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea, and we can certainly do that. So I don't know if anybody else wants to share. We're driving in the car, so we're not outside. Everyone's gonna get in their car and do a parade in our little neighborhood.
Hi, this is Holly. I was going to say, for me, there's been a lot of laughter, especially with these online meetings that we've had with people with various skill sets. And it's been humorous at times. And I've just kind of, before every meeting, I just kind of remind myself that things are not going to go according to plan. And I just kind of let things go the way they're going to go. And I also see how there's going to be a lot of skills that I'll have, by summer that I never knew that I would have in my 20th year. So I'm focusing on that positive part and seeing there's a lot of humor, and I'm seeing more neighbors in the last couple weeks than I ever knew I ever had.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is.
Oops.
Lynn, you're unmuted if you wanted to share something.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I'm going to give a sort of, because I'm older, I'm going to give a perspective I think that adds a lot of hope, and you're already doing a great job on hope and being involved in all of those. This is important discussions, and congratulations to MSCA for doing this. I think there's going to be a new appreciation for teachers when this is over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A real different social awareness that may actually evolve into respecting teachers enough to actually pay them what they're worth or close to it, because since you can't afford to pay them what they're worth. But I think there's going to be societal change that's going to be good. And, we're hoping we don't lose anybody. That's always our wish, to not lose anybody and to have the anxiety take over people's lives and cause more depression and stress. But when we come out of this, there's going to be appreciation for freedom and being able to go out to dinner and being able to meet with your friends. I think there's going to be, there has been in many families, not all, a great deal of time actually talking to each other. And I know we were all worried about how disconnected our kids have come because of electronic media. And I think this time could really, in many families, not all, of course, have been healing, in that they're playing games together, and parents actually have to talk to their kids to help them with their schoolwork. And so there's some big societal changes that I think are going to be hard and fast. Some things will be transitory, but I think there are going to be some big things about interpersonal relationships that we have sorely needed, that it might sort of be nature's realignment to get us back to our centers. That's what I think. That comes from, almost being 70 and you've seen a lot of stuff. For what that's worth, it's really, I think there's going to be some really good stuff once we get through this.
Yeah. I think that I thank you. And I think that's exactly on this note to end. It's just some wonderful takeaways. And our mission or our goal is really, as MSCA, is to really reach out and continue this. And stay tuned. We'll figure out different formats. I don't know if Laura, if you want to say anything, and we then have a really, I think, great little video that we want to show. But I don't know if Laura or any other of the board members want to say anything before we close.
Yes, this is Xiomara. I just wanted to remind everyone that we still are really looking forward to continuing to build our capacity as your organization. And in order to do that, we really, really, really want you guys to be as involved as you possibly can. I know people get really worried about time commitments and, taking on board positions, but there's also, lots of committees you can join, and we have a lot of those people online right now. Loretta Baylor, who is here, she's our independent schools representative. If any of you that are logged in right now are in a charter school or a Catholic school or independent school and you'd like to join and build up that committee, that would be wonderful. Holly's legislative committee is another fantastic one. That stuff is so it's another language to me. So it's fantastic to have someone who really understands it and sharing out with us. And there's lots of opportunities to, check out the website and see how you can get involved. So any questions regarding what opportunities are out there for you, please go ahead and ask in the chat box as well, and Marion and I can respond to as many of them as possible.
Awesome. I'll share out that video in just a sec.
Perfect. And then while she's setting that up, we just really want to thank you. You'll be hearing from us in the upcoming weeks or so about more gatherings like this, if it's been beneficial. And we will be sharing and posting these resources out to you. We'll probably change the format just a little as we experience the technical difficulty. We'll also probably share resources about what's happened, what we experienced, which is called being Zoom bombed. And so we'll share out, we don't really want to spend too much time talking about that, but we'll share out the resources. We're sharing it with Dr. Mueller with MSCE, who can then share it out as the districts or counties decide that they want to. But you might want to just be mindful of how you post your Zoom information. I would just say that, encourage you to try and be more private if it's, just because there are people out there who have a lot of time on their hands.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, I am trying to play it. Give me one moment.
Well, and I'll tell you, while she's playing the video, this is just a quick video. You may or may not have seen it before. I show it when I do trainings, but I think it's from students. And it speaks to school counselors. And I always really, that's who I sometimes value the most when I get information from is a thank you from a student means the world to me. And so that's what this is. It's just a little note from students who I know that your students may not have a moment right now virtually to connect with you, or maybe they are, whatever your district is doing. But these are just probably, I would say, general sentiments from all students.
Awesome. And before we play this video, I know that our president, Dr. Jones, Laura, had wanted to say something as well.
Yeah, thank you all for attending today. I'm really impressed by the numbers, and clearly it shows this is something that you want and need. And even I'm looking at some of the chats and they say, can you please do this again? And if there's some topics, that you would like us to talk about or just to open discussion forum, let us know that as well. And yes, we will continue to, if this is something that you would like to do, we'll continue to do this. This was Nikki's idea and it was a fabulous plan. I'm really excited to be out there and be as open and supportive as we can. Yeah, we have some great things coming up. We have the other MSCA seminars that, webinars, I should say, that are available and real time, and we're recording as well. for your own personal professional development. But if there's something that you like us to talk about or the information that you would like to deem, let us know and we will do our best to get that to you. Our job is for you and for school counselors, and we'd like to hear from you as well. Thank you for coming, and enjoy our last video.
And as Ali, our secretary, mentioned, please encourage your coworkers to also become, MSCA members, because these are the type of resources that you'll get. We try to stay connected. So definitely try to, let your coworkers know of all the good things we do, and we're happy to make them members. Share the wealth.
Thank you, Marion.
Dear Miss Ross, I have never told you this, but you have changed my life for the best. Because of you, I have managed to make it to my senior year of college without having to pay anything out of pocket.
So Brandon Lynn.
Really?
I can't hear it.
She used to say, you'll never know unless you apply. Told me, follow my dreams.
Through the ups and the downs.
She said, go with your passion. She's like, I'm not telling you what to do.
She called me 7 o'clock in the morning, telling me, hey, don't you want to study political science? You should go to this program.
She understood me.
She believed in me.
Through scheduling, through opportunities, everything.
The best piece of advice.
I have never told you this, but you have changed my life for the best. Because of you, I've managed to make it to my senior year of college without having to pay anything out of pocket.
So if Brandon and Linda were right in front of me right now, I'd say, thank you. I'd give them a really, really big hug.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Frank. I appreciate everything you do.
If Captain Haran were in front of me right now, I would probably give her a big hug.
I am forever thankful for everything that you've done for me, Mr. Duncan.
They really cared, and they really understood what I wanted to get out of my college experience, even before I even got there.
They would always call me and my best friend to the front office to fill out scholarship opportunities or fill out college applications.
I wouldn't be here today without him and his guidance.
She used to say, you'll never know unless you apply. Told me, follow my dreams.
Through the ups and the downs.
She said, go with your passion. She's like, I'm not telling you what to do.
She called me 7 o'clock in the morning, telling me, hey, don't you want to study political science? You should go to this program.
She understood me.
She believed in me.
Through scheduling, through opportunities, everything.
The best piece of advice that he's ever given me was simply to relax. Basically, follow your heart. And I want to thank my high school counselor, Miss Ponce, for helping me get here today.
I would not be where I am without her guidance.
Thank you so much for what you do every day, not only for me, but to all the students at Patriot High School. Her dedication to our student body.
For realizing the bigger picture and realizing what I needed, even when I didn't know.
Thanks for all the flexibility and support that you offered. It really allowed me to achieve my dreams, and now I'm at Columbia University, my top school. If you're out there somewhere, sincerely, genuinely, I love you for everything you've done.
Well, thank you for everything that you do.
Until next time, my friends.
All right.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your day and stay safe, everyone.
Do we want to have the board members stay on for a second or close it all out?
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be easier to just end the meeting, and then if needed, we can. Well, it looks like there's 15 participants, so I think people are exiting as they.
Well, at least, a couple of us
I think it's a few of us still left.
able to figure this out. I'm trying to see. Allie, I don't know if you use Zoom as often. I can't see how. Do you think Nikki will get like an email to see like who the participants were? Because how do we get the resources to everybody that was on? Or do we just, like Marion was thinking, do we just post? Marion, Allie needs to be unmuted.
Yeah,
I guess at this point we can unmute everybody.
Yep.
I used to have I'm very big on that. Like I love my office network. Like it is set up exactly how I need to do what I gotta do. I need space like that at home. So
Somebody's still in.
I need more
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me, I'm gonna, hold on. I don't know. I didn't realize they were still in. Hold on.
Yeah, there's still several people.
Hold on.
Carol Peacock, Holly is on. I think they're
here. I'm just trying to figure out like, I can see where I can save the chat. I'm doing that now, but how do I send it to everybody? Like, how do I know who was here?
I think you guys should stop recording first.
Yeah, we gotta stop recording.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me try to stop recording. Oh wait, no, I did stop recording.